If you are in a situation like me and you have to take your trash to the dump yourself, it can be very annoying and it can pile up. I have tried leaving it outdoors before in trash cans, but it always seems like animals get into it. I have decided to build an impenetrable dumpster fortress for my trash cans. I did come up with some kind of design, if you could call it that, and a short materials list. All the wood I'm using for this project was milled on my Woodland Mills HM126. I used two 9-foot poplar logs that were about 20 inches in diameter for this project. I needed to mill 4 4x4x6s, 10 2x4x9s that I will cut in half, 15 3/4x10x9s that I will also cut in half, and finally 7 3/4x3x9s that I will also cut in half. I marked my 4x4s 24 inches down. This is as far as I need to treat them for ground contact. I have already made a video about how I treat my wood for outdoor use on a budget, so if you want to check that video out, I will leave it linked in the description. The process, however, is quite simple. All I do is burn the part that will be in the ground, and then I normally burn 6 inches past just in case. Then I treat the wood with a mixture of 50% diesel fuel and 50% used motor oil. Once all 4 4x4s were treated, I dug the post holes. These post holes were a pain in the butt to dig because I am digging them right next to our driveway, and I kept hitting the base layer of rock and gravel from where they poured the asphalt. I then started the process of making the hinge for the dumpster lid. I knew that I had to secure the hinge before I poured the concrete because the hinge will be inside the 4x4s. I thought this was a pretty creative solution for the hinge mechanism. I used a piece of rebar as the structure of the hinge for strength, and then I used a piece of metal conduit and put the rebar on the inside so the conduit would spin freely. All this will make sense once I start assembling the lid, but just know this part needed to be done before I poured the concrete. The concrete process is super simple. I have used this method on several of my projects and nothing bad has happened so far. All I do is pour the concrete, tamp the concrete in the holes, level the post, add water, poke the holes to allow water to seep in, and then add more concrete and water if needed. I used 2x4s for the base. The base measured 68 inches long and 36 inches wide. All you really need to do is make sure everything is level and square, and you can't really mess this part up. My bracing for the floor is 18 inches apart. That allowed me to have 5 floor braces, including the 2 side pieces. The floor pieces are 10 inches wide. I used a square and a circular saw to make sure I got a straight cut. The only tricky part about the floor was having to cut the 4 corners out. I just had to make sure I took into account the width of the side and the front bracing in order to get an accurate measurement. Hey, if you have enjoyed this video so far and you think I deserve it, I would appreciate it if you subscribed. I'm trying to build a community of like-minded individuals who enjoy sawmilling, building, woodworking, and helping one another solve problems. If that sounds like something you would like to be a part of, it is free to subscribe, and you can unsubscribe at any time. Thank you, and I hope you're enjoying this video. I wanted the lid to slope towards the back of the dumpster, so I had to make sure the front 4x4s were taller than the back. The front measured 33 inches and the back measured 29 inches, which gave me a 4-inch drop over 3 feet, and that was good enough for me. Once I put the rest of the side pieces on, it was time to start putting the siding on the dumpster. I used board and batten siding for this process. I did this for a few reasons. The main one is board and batten siding is primarily used when you are working with wet or green wood, and since I just got these boards off the mill, this wood is definitely wet. The reason you do this is because the boards will shrink when they dry, and that will make the space between them larger. The batten is there to hide the space between the boards and give it a more complete look. Another reason I did this is because my house has board and batten siding, so I wanted it to match my house. I left the side pieces long so I could go back with a hacksaw and cut them flush to the 2x4 that was sloping towards the back of the dumpster. This actually went a lot smoother than I thought it was going to, and it turned out pretty good. I added these side pieces to secure the hinges of the doors, and it also gives it a more complete look. The doors will be 32 inches wide, and I have to make sure to leave a 1/4 inch space between the doors to make sure they can close. These were very basic doors. I built the frames, put a brace in the middle, and then added my board and batten siding. The hinges went on smoothly. I did have to add a block in the back where the nails for the hinge were poking through. The next door went up just as smooth. Just remember to put a spacer on the bottom so the door will open and shut smoothly without getting caught on the floor. I got all the hardware from Lowe's. All I had to buy for this project was 2 trash cans, 4 hinges, a latch, a 10-foot piece of rebar, a 10-foot piece of conduit connectors, and some screws. And somehow I still spent $150 even though I got the wood for free, quote unquote. Now to start the hinge part of the dumpster. I connected a 3x3 onto the conduit using 5 conduit connectors. I had to make sure the 3x3 would be higher than the 4x4s on the side so the lid wouldn't get hung up. Once I had the sides and the front secured, I needed to make sure it would lift properly. It was getting caught on the back, so a quick cut with a hacksaw fixed that problem. I just used some battens I had left over to allow the metal roofing to have something to connect to. I'm not too worried about them sagging or having enough support in the middle. If something happens later on, then I will address the problem. Now onto the handle of the dumpster. I had a broken piece of a post hole digger laying around, so I used this as the handle for the dumpster. All I did was cut it to the size I was wanting. Then I put some 2x4 pieces on as blocking and then secured the handle to them. I like the way it turned out, and the lid seems to open and close smoothly, so now it's on to adding the sheet metal. If you didn't know, you can turn your circular saw blade around and cut sheet metal with it. However, if you decide to do this, be prepared for the worst sound you will hear in your life. It is a mixture of nails on a chalkboard and a goat screaming. I had some used sheet metal left over from a previous project, so I'm using that as the roof. I cut the pieces to 47.5 inches long and then secured them with 1.5 inch metal roofing screws. Some of the screws poked through, so I had to cut them off with an angle grinder. I then made sure everything was operating correctly, just to see if I needed to correct anything. I raked the leaves in the front and added some weed barrier. I added some gravel to give it a more finished look, and this is the final product. Hope you enjoyed. Like and subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.